So wait, okay, you had some other like legal problems when you were young too, right? Like you got arrested for a drive-by at one point, right?
That was in 1989, but that's what actually sent me.
That's why you went to prison that one time.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of violations, but then that was the icing on the cake.
Think, but nobody actually got killed or anything. Somebody got hit. It wasn't who I was shooting at. It just turned out to be, they didn't find a gun. It wasn't really enough evidence, but I was in the car, so all of that, it just...
But what kind of shit are you doing in your life that had you doing a drive-by? Were you really in the streets like that? I feel like you might be trying to clean your image up a little bit.
Nah, but actually, I wouldn't even consider myself a gang member, a gangster, none of that. The neighborhood. More people lean toward the violence.
Right.
But I would say by the time I turned 15, from 12 to 15, there was a couple killings, a couple people we lost. So, of course, your pain, you could feel a certain way. That's when I started really repping the field more, when I seen that people would come to our neighborhood and shoot, So we, I can't claim the tough guy in me. I can't claim that I was thugging so hard. I would steal your car, break in your house probably more than I would shoot you.
Right.
Because there's no money in that. But getting some money out your car was way more important to me. Your radio, your rims, something in the car, or going in the house, get your TV, your stereo. Back then it was a TV, a system. Maybe you had some weed or something under your bed or something.
Now you got a nice ass TV. It's like $500, $1,000. But they're a lot smaller now.
Nah, but back then definitely, if you had something, it was definitely one of them ones, and that was worth a lot back then. Yeah. Okay. So the house burglary car thing, I think I had more stripes for that than anything else.
Definitely. So okay, where do you go from there?
Like I say, when I came home, I was infatuated with the music, and I knew that the life of crime, for me, I don't think I was gonna have good luck. I think because I come from a spiritual family, I come from a praying mama, praying family, grandmama, do the right thing, son. Don't follow those guys out there. I mean, a lot of us had that, but we still make our own decisions and dibble and dabble, within them streets. But moving forward, though, I would say that the music just took over, because by 92, my dreams started coming true without even no record deal or no manager, because I got a hold to information.
What was that?
The information was, if you want to be in the record game, go print up your own tapes, record it in whatever studio you want, take your master. Back then, it was called DAT tape. And it was about this big. You take your DAT tape to a manufacturer, and you pay for your copies. And they put your name on the tape, and they put your record label logo on the tape. You give them the artwork, you pay for it. When you get your copies, drive to the record store yourself. That information blew my young mind, because I became the product now. It wasn't that I wanted 10 pounds of weed, 100 pounds of weed, and I'm gonna get, I'm gonna blow up, or I got 10 kilos or 3 kilos of powder. I could cook this up and, blow this up and give me some big money and take flight. Nah, I could make these cassettes. I could make these songs and go print up 500 tapes, 1,000 tapes, 2,000. I got up to 5,000 cassette tapes to a teenager. I've been sending my demos out. These folk ain't called yet. I done sent my shit. I don't think it was FedEx back then. It was mail. But if you want priority mail back then, it was $75, $65. That means that they put it on the desk of wherever you sending it to, priority mail. Man, I can remember spending damn near $1,500, $75, $50 a pop to try to get to Def Jam or the Island Records or the Priority Records or Atlantic Records. And I remember getting these executives' names in their offices, and I'm like, shit, boy, with that information, when them calls didn't come and heartbreak, and I felt like I did good music, and then I got the knowledge to do it myself, I said, I ain't looking back.
And you never got anything back from any of the labels?
I never got nothing back from those guys. Nope.
But I remember this being like a conversation for like people that I knew who were starting bands and stuff is that if you were trying to get on, you would just have to just send your shit to the labels.
You have to. Yep.
And just pray.
And some took it a step further and came to the office.
Go there, yeah.
Back then, it wasn't like a police officer at the front patting down or blocking, like back then you could actually go knock on the door and be like, is Mr. Vine here or Weinstein? And he would be upset that some guy is here because, the more, then they got to the point where they put the front desk and you got to get buzzed in and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But at certain points, to fly to New York, back then the airplane ticket was something nasty, in the early 90s. And then where am I going to stay? There, early 90s, there was no internet to Google this, Google that. It was a yellow book. It was your white pages. And then you look, or you call operator for New York to try to find something you're looking for. So printing up these cassette tapes, and then eventually a year later, it went to compact disc. A cassette tape cost, at that point, 65 cents to manufacture. The wholesale price or the retail price was $10, $11 for Run DMC, NWA, whoever. Cassette tape. But your wholesale for the record label to a distributor would be $5 to $6. So the distributor now is going to sell it for $7 or $8. At that time back then, the store and the distributor was making maybe $2, $3 per unit. When compact disc came out, they were $1.25 for 1,000. So you spent $1,250 for 1,000 compact discs. But whoever manufactures, when I drop it off to a distributor, I would drop it off for $8. That margin of profit was way better than cassette tapes. And then our revenues blew up starting from 93 moving forward. And Dr. Dre put out the Chronic album November 16th, 1992, and I dropped my album November 16th, 1992, Don't Stop Till We Major, with the song with RBL Posse. I remember when the compact disc came out and I wanted to hear the quality of my mixes against his mixes and like, why is his so much better? But over time, we got to see, Dr. Dre don't record on these little 8-ats and no little 8 tracks and all that. No, he got the 24-inch tape, and he going through a SSL board on his mixes, and he got all these Neve plugins. So the concept of your quality, Dr. Dre is the one that introduced the next level of sonicness of through mixing and sound effects and the Doctor Office and the Game Show. The Chronic album was something.
Right.
So for me as a producer, I began to try to emulate that.